Hi, and welcome back to part 3 of the speed development series. This video, we'll be looking at agility or change of direction ability. So before we get any further, it is useful to distinguish between these two terms, agility and change of direction. Often used in the wrong context, agility refers to rapid whole body movements with change of velocity or direction, specifically in response to a stimulus. In sports, a sport-specific stimulus. Agility movements are a skill, and they involve perception-action coupling in response to dynamic, constantly changing scenarios that occur within the game. Change of direction involves changing direction or speed without a stimulus. It is closed and pre-programmed. Agility, on the other hand, is open, random, and chaotic. This distinction is important, as oftentimes people talk about agility drills and their benefits to player performance, yet the drills have no sport-specific stimulus, and thus low transferability to performance. There are two main components to agility: the physical change of direction ability or speed, and the perceptual and decision-making parts of the action. The chart on the right shows these two categories and the many different subcomponents involved in each one. It is important to note that agility does not include closed skills, even if they have a stimulus, as the movement is pre-planned. For example, a sprinter responding to a gun at the start of a race is not an act of agility, as the movement was already programmed and rehearsed. So for perceptual and decision-making factors, the athletes must be visually scanning, anticipation, pattern recognition, what's new, what they recognize, and then for change of direction, speed, the physical parts of it. There's technique, there's lower body power and muscle, and speed. So many field and court sports involve some straight sprinting, but more often repeated short sprinting with changes of direction. The ability to sprint repeatedly and change direction while sprinting is a determinant of sport performance in field and court sports, as evidenced by time and motion analysis, validation of testing batteries for elite and non-elite performers, and coaching analyses for sports such as rugby, basketball, soccer, and field hockey, amongst others. Beyond sports performance, agility also confers benefits for physical and cognitive skills, and better agility is correlated with lower injury risk and better injury severity. Regardless of the sport you play, agility is essential to taking athletic performance to the next level, building explosive power, increasing speed, and improving recovery times and balance. Here's a video of Nyheim Hines on the Buffalo Bills returning a opening kickoff for a touchdown. And you can see he uses agility to evade defenders and get to where he wants to go, the end zone. So he needs to perceive where the defenders are, choose what action, what deke to use, and he needs the physical attributes to do it. So agility actions vary greatly both within a sport and between different sports. One main distinction between different actions is between offensive and defensive actions. That is, actions in which you are trying to avoid or beat a defender and get to a goal, and you're the one initiating, or actions in which you're the defender, trying to catch another player or tackle them and responding to their actions. Some examples of typical agility actions are shown in the chart on the right, such as sidestep, shuffle step, spin, deceleration, turn, etc. The actual agility act can be separated into 4 phases: the initiation phase, the preparation phase, in which deceleration occurs, the execution phase, which is the main part when the actual change in direction happens. That's when all the force is applied. And then the follow-through phase, in which the athlete reaccelerates in the new direction. So given the variability and uniqueness of agility actions in sports, no specific technical model exists, as it did for acceleration and max velocity. And coaches need to be cautious when applying a specific technique to the complexity of agility within sport. Look at force plate analysis, and you'll see large variations in how athletes approach a cut or change of direction, demonstrating that even in closed drills, there is no perfect approach or technique, and technique varies from rep to rep. For example, think about working technique for a 90-degree cut. You can break it down, you can stress a specific shin angle, square foot angle, lower center of gravity, and think you're doing a great job. But in sport, how often does a perfect 90-degree cut occur? How often does it occur? in that perfect, safe training setting where the athlete knows exactly where to plant, with what foot, and in which direction. That being said, there are a few general themes we are looking for with agility actions to improve them and reduce injury risk. A low center of gravity and quick feet will allow athletes to change directions or velocities quicker, while avoiding knee valgus reduces the injury risk to ligaments such as the ACL and will generate more force during the push-off or acceleration phase. A neutral plant foot, stable trunk, and a good hip rotation are also important. As seen in this image on the left, the athlete's torso is above his hips, rather than falling away or lagging behind, and the hips are rotated towards in the direction that he wants to move. Given the perceptual aspect of agility, which is often forgotten about, athletes must use their eyes continually to scan the sporting environment and the opponents and pick up cues that will inform them what to do next and of the necessary actions. So as there's less of a set technique to agility compared to acceleration and max velocity, coaching cues are more situationally dependent. Here are some general ones that can be useful, however, such as stay low to the ground, which reminds athletes stay low center of gravity, makes it easier to change direction quickly. Push the ground away from you. We want force production in the back leg. After we change direction and reaccelerate, we want to make sure we're pushing out and getting out quickly. Finish your drive, triple extension of that back leg, power out, cushion the landing. So we don't want to decelerate too fast and hard or else too much force on our planting leg. We want to cushion the landing and make sure we're coming in controlled. That way we can explode out also. So now getting into training agility. As Tom Dos Santos, lecturer in strength and conditioning and sports biomechanics at the Manchester Metropolitan University explains, the overarching aim of an agility development framework should be to create athletes who possess adaptable movement strategies and multiple movement solutions to solve the problems they encounter during the unpredictable and chaotic nature of multidirectional invasion sports. It is hard to design drills that truly mirror game demands, but we are hoping to prepare athletes so that in games they are prepared for the potential stimuli and can react optimally. Adding sport-specific stimuli, like opponents, equipment, and environmental cues, is important to maximize transferability to gameplay. And while change of direction drills should not make up the whole program and are less transferable, they can still be useful when in addition to agility drills. As agility is a multifaceted skill, requiring change of direction, perception action coupling, and decision making, it is vital to remember to train each of these aspects. Small-sided games replicating match demands in smaller areas, have been shown to be beneficial to improving agility. Similar to the acceleration and max velocity, a well-rounded training program is best, as we want athletes to have a good foundation of strength, good core stability to resist or create changes in motion and movement and direction, and plyometric training for reactive strength and explosiveness. As agility training should be high intensity, full effort drills, the drills should be quick and short with sufficient rest times so the central nervous system is fresh. Finally, it is important to begin training with deceleration before doing any further agility work to avoid injury. Eccentric strength is important for athletes because the ability to change direction depends largely on sufficient eccentric braking capabilities to halt momentum in one direction before acceleration in a new direction. It is a huge component of deceleration and stabilization during the braking phase of an exercise during tasks that involve a rapid change of direction. When an athlete decelerates, the braking forces that he or she is subject to are generally much higher than his or her own body weight due to velocity of movement that occurs during deceleration. In a 2015 study conducted on female basketball athletes, researchers found that athletes who had better eccentric strength had a faster and more efficient transition between braking and propelling. There should be an emphasis on programming open drills instead of closed drills. Open drills are drills with a stimulus that the athlete must react to. This is more representative of gameplay and thus far more useful to developing agility. If we only do closed change of direction drills, we fail to challenge athletes in these areas. Instead of developing creative, robust, reactive athletes, change of direction drills make our athletes robotic, rehearsed, and uncreative. Using change of direction drills is analogous to skipping to the end of a book. The ending won't make any sense because we miss what led up to that ending. Everything leading up to the ending builds and develops the context which connects everything, and everything before a movement builds and develops into the subsequent motor response. With regards to progression of agility drills, athletes should move from planned change of direction drills to develop the technique and ability to then go to the reactive drills and then full agility drills. Over the training blocks, exercises should progress from extensive drills to intensive drills, simple to complex, general to more sport specific, bilateral to unilateral, low volume and intensity to high volume intensity, closed to open, and different sensory stimuli could be introduced. So auditory stimuli, visual stimuli, touch stimuli. The sample training program is similar to the acceleration and max velocity programs, yet with agility work during the speed session. This training week, earlier on in the program, has more deceleration work to prep the athlete for the vast forces they'll face. Each training day finishes with agility games, which, although not an exact replica of sport-specific demands, still have an opponent that replicates it somewhat. The Friday session is a fully dedicated agility session, with plyometric work and plenty of agility drills and games. In this session, coaches should also look to implement more sport-specific stimuli. Agility training also occurs during training, and coaches during sport training, and coaches must also focus on the perceptual and technical components of agility, ensuring players are smart in gameplay and make the right reads and decisions. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning were far from the most physically gifted athletes in their position. But what separated them was their vision, play recognition, perception action coupling, reaction to ever-changing play, anticipation, creativity, cognition, ability to pull from past experiences, etc. Every single play offers a different, distinct, and unique problem. And these guys are best able to find optimal solutions to these problems. We want athletes to be well balanced with the physical attributes to be good, agile, but also the perceptual and decision making. The later week offers a progressed workout plan from the earlier weeks, with games increasing in complexity and difficulty, and drills focusing more on agility and less on planned and reactive change of direction. Volume has gone up on some of the drills, and many have been progressed from bilateral to unilateral. It is important that athletes are assessed as the training program progresses, checking how they are doing with it. If any pain is felt, it is important to stop immediately. This training program is just an example, and it could be catered more specific to sport-specific needs, however needed. So that's the end of this three-part series on speed development in team sport athletes. I hope you enjoyed and you're able to take something away, and I hope you walk away with more knowledge about acceleration, max velocity, and agility. Thank you for listening.